What if I told you the words, "I'm sorry," might be silently draining your confidence, and you don't even realize it? Most people think apologizing is simply a sign of kindness, but psychology reveals something much deeper. By the end of this video, you'll discover why some people apologize constantly, what it secretly reveals about their inner world, and how one small shift can completely change the way others see you and the way you see yourself. What fee? The hidden habit. Think about the last time you said sorry. Now think about whether you actually did anything wrong. For a lot of people, the answer is no. Someone bumps into them on the street, and they apologize. A co-worker cuts off their sentence. "Oh, sorry, go ahead." The word slips out before there's even time to think. That's the first thing psychology wants us to understand. Constant apologizing usually isn't a choice, it's a habit. And habits form the same way a path appears across a field of grass, one step at a time, until the route becomes automatic. Every time your brain reaches for sorry to smooth over a moment, it strengthens that pathway a little more, until one day the word arrives faster than the thought behind it. But here's the important distinction. There's a world of difference between taking responsibility and apologizing for existing. Real accountability says, "I made a mistake, and I'll fix it." The other kind whispers, "Please don't be upset with me," over things you never controlled in the first place. So if you've ever caught yourself apologizing to a chair you walked into, you're not strange, you're human. But where does this habit really come from? That's where it gets interesting. 2. Fear of rejection. Underneath a lot of over-apologizing lives, a quiet, very human fear. The fear of disappointing the people around us. For some, sorry works like a shield. Offer it early, offer it often, and maybe no one will be upset. Maybe there won't be a conflict. Maybe everyone will stay happy with you. And avoiding conflict feels safe in the moment. But there's a hidden cost. When the need to keep everyone comfortable grows louder than your own voice, you slowly start disappearing from your own conversations. You agree when you don't agree. You shrink your opinions. You apologize for taking up a sliver of space. Where does this begin? Often earlier than we realize. A child who learned that approval felt conditional, that they had to be good, quiet, easy, never a bother, can carry that lesson for decades. They grow up believing that keeping the peace is their job, and that any friction means they've done something wrong. None of this makes them weak. It makes them someone who learned, very early, how to feel safe by staying agreeable. But that quiet strategy has an even deeper root, one tangled up in how we secretly see ourselves. And that's what we need to look at next. 3. Low self-worth. Here's a thought that lives in the background for many chronic apologizers. I'm too much. Or its twin. I'm not enough. The belief that simply by being here, with your needs, your questions, your presence, you're somehow a burden on everyone else. And the thing about beliefs like that is, they don't stay in your head. They leak into your language. If somewhere inside you feel like an inconvenience, you start speaking like one. Sorry to bother you. Sorry, this is probably a silly question. Sorry, I know you're busy. Every sentence wrapped in an apology, as if you have to pay a toll just to be heard. Now listen to how a person speaks when they feel worthy of their own space. They don't say sorry to ask. They simply ask. They don't apologize for their needs. They express them. The words changed because the self-worth underneath them changed. And notice, this was never about being perfect. You don't have to be flawless to deserve respect. You don't have to earn your place by never making a mistake. Self-worth isn't a reward for getting everything right. It's the quiet starting point that everything else grows from. But self-worth isn't the whole story. Because sometimes over-apologizing comes from something that's actually a gift. 4. Highly empathetic personalities. Not every apology comes from fear or low self-worth. Some come from a heart that feels everything. Highly empathetic people don't just notice when someone's upset. They feel it. Almost as if the emotion were their own. So when they sense the smallest ripple of discomfort in the room, sorry rushes out to soothe it, to make things okay for everyone. And this is genuinely beautiful. The world needs people who care that deeply, who tune in to others without being asked. But here's the quiet danger. When you carry everyone else's feelings as if they were yours, you can end up drained, running on empty, apologizing for storms you didn't create and can't control. That's why healthy empathy needs an anchor. Boundaries. You can care about someone's feelings without making yourself responsible for them. You can be kind and protect your own energy. Real empathy isn't about absorbing every emotion around you. It's about staying warm without setting yourself on fire to keep other people comfortable. But there's another engine behind constant apologizing, and it keeps running quietly in the mind long after the conversation is over. Let's talk about it. 5. Anxiety and overthinking. It's midnight, you're lying in bed, and your brain decides now is the perfect time to replay a conversation from 3 days ago. Analyzing every word, every pause, wondering if you said something wrong. Sound familiar? For overthinkers, the mind is rarely quiet. It rewinds old conversations on a loop, searching for mistakes that may not even exist. And so, the apologies arrive early, before anyone has complained, before there's any actual problem. Sorry if that came out wrong. Sorry, was that weird? You apologize just in case, trying to defuse a bomb that was never ticking. Here's what's really happening. An anxious brain is a prediction machine that's stuck on worst-case scenarios. It imagines disappointment, judgment, rejection, vividly, convincingly, long before any of it is real. And most of the time, that imagined disaster simply never arrives. The conversation was fine. Nobody was upset. The whole storm existed only in your head. The fuel behind all of this is uncertainty. When you can't be sure how someone feels about you, sorry becomes a way to buy a little safety, a small insurance policy against a rejection that usually isn't coming. So how do we start breaking free? It begins with something surprisingly simple: the words we choose. 6. The confidence signal. Here's something communication experts have understood for a long time. The words you choose don't just describe how you feel. They shape how others see you and how you see yourself. And this is where one tiny shift can quietly change everything. Picture two people walking into a meeting, 10 minutes late. The first rushes in. I'm so sorry I'm late. The second walks in and says, thank you all so much for waiting. Same lateness, completely different energy. The first one hands over guilt. The second one offers gratitude. And somehow, they seem more grounded, more self-assured, without ever being arrogant. That's the magic of the swap. Sorry for talking so much becomes, thank you for listening. Sorry to bother you becomes, thank you for your time. You're not being rude. You're not dodging responsibility. You're simply refusing to apologize for things that were never wrong in the first place. And notice what this does over time. Every time you choose gratitude over guilt, you send yourself a small message. I belong here. My presence is not a problem. Warm, respectful communication has never required a constant undertone of guilt. But, and this matters, it doesn't mean you should stop apologizing altogether. Because some apologies are powerful. The trick is knowing the difference. 7. Healthy versus unhealthy apologies. Let's be clear about something. Apologizing is not the enemy. A real, genuine apology is one of the most powerful things a human being can offer. When you've actually hurt someone, saying I'm sorry and meaning it can repair trust, heal a rift, and bring two people closer than they were before. That kind of apology is a bridge. The problem isn't apologizing. The problem is apologizing for everything. Because when sorry becomes your reflex for every tiny moment, it slowly loses its weight. If you apologize for the weather, for asking a question, for someone else's bad mood, then when you truly need to apologize, the word has been worn thin. Over-apologizing can quietly chip away at how seriously people take you. So the real skill isn't apologizing more or apologizing less. It's knowing when. Did you actually cause harm? Then own it fully. A sincere apology is strength, not weakness. Did you simply exist, take up space, or have a need? Then there's nothing to apologize for. That's emotional balance. Matching your response to the moment, instead of drowning every situation in guilt. And once you can feel that difference, you're ready for the most important part, actually changing the pattern. Here's how. 8. Breaking the pattern. So how do you break a habit that's been running on autopilot for years? Not by force. Not by scolding yourself every time a sorry slips out. That just adds more guilt to the pile. You change it gently, one moment of awareness at a time. It starts with a pause. The next time you feel that sorry rising to your lips, wait, just 1 second. That tiny gap is where all your power lives. In that space, ask yourself a single honest question. Did I actually do something wrong? Most of the time, the answer will surprise you. You'll realize you were about to apologize for absolutely nothing. If the answer is no, try the swap. Trade the guilt for gratitude. Instead of sorry I'm late, try thank you for waiting. Instead of sorry for rambling, try thanks for hearing me out. Same warmth, none of the shrinking. Then take it one step further and practice speaking with quiet assertiveness. State your needs plainly. Ask your questions without a disclaimer. Share your opinion without wrapping it in an apology. It'll feel strange at first, maybe even a little uncomfortable, and that's completely normal. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just not used to taking up space yet. And underneath all of it, keep rebuilding one belief. I deserve to be here, not because you're perfect, simply because you exist. Here's the encouraging part. Confidence isn't something you're born with or without. It's built the same way the old habit was built, through awareness and repetition. Every pause, every swap, every moment you choose self-respect over reflexive guilt, you're wiring a new path. And slowly, without even noticing, you become someone who no longer apologizes for simply being alive. Here's the truth. Apologizing isn't weakness, but apologizing for simply existing is. Psychology reminds us that confidence isn't about becoming louder. It's about quietly believing you deserve to take up space without constantly asking for forgiveness. So the next time you're about to say, I'm sorry, pause for just 1 second. Feel whether the moment truly calls for it. Because that single pause, that one small breath of awareness, could begin to change the way you see yourself forever. If this video shifted the way you think about the word sorry, do me one small favor. Leave a comment with just one word, confidence. It'll remind you of everything you felt right now. Subscribe for more psychology that helps you understand yourself and the people around you on a deeper level. And if someone you love apologizes far too often, share this with them. It might be the exact thing they needed to hear today.